Hi, I'm Sam. I work over at the Easley branch. I'm in the circulation department. I am here to talk to you about some great graphic novels that I believe would be great for some reader advisory. So first we're going to start off with one of my favorites. It is the Earth's Mightiest Hero, Captain Marvel. If you are a fan of the Marvel movies and you have seen the movie Captain Marvel, this is Carol Danvers' first time ever donning the title of Captain Marvel. It is written by Kelly Sue DeConnick, and the art is by Dexter Soy and Emma Rios. It is basically, she's dealing with the fact that the predecessor of Captain Marvel has passed away, and she's very reluctant about taking the title of Captain Marvel, but then she ends up having to deal with the death of one of her military heroes that helped inspired her, and she ends up traveling back in time and meets her. So it's one of those travel back in time kind of stories, but also very good of coming to terms with the loss of somebody you admire very much. So if you are a fan of the movies, I would recommend giving this a try. Next up is definitely one of my favorites. It is Critical Role Vox Machina Origins by Matt Colville, Matthew Mercer. They collaborated it together, and then the art is done by Olivia Sampson. Critical Role is a D&D live streaming show that has basically become so popular that they have taken their story and turned it into a graphic novel. So basically this is a high adventure story of where these ragtag group of people that do not seem to be able to get along at first in their adventure before the whole streaming playing their D&D game. I would thoroughly suggest it, especially if you are a fan of Dragonlance Chronicles or anything high fantasy adventure. You probably really enjoy this. Next up is Blackbird by Sam Humphries, and the art is done by Jen Bartel. The story is about Nina, who has to deal with the fact that she saw a magical beast when she was a child, but nobody believed her. It is very much a story of where I am wanting to root for her, that she can overcome all of the obstacles that has been in her path. But the magical beasts that live in the world around her, nobody else sees. Nobody else believes that they exist. So she is trying to go through and come to terms with that, and then all of a sudden, her sister gets kidnapped, and she is trying to get her sister back. She overcomes the trauma of some of the things in her childhood up to her adult life to try and ultimately save her sister, who she loves very dearly, even if their relationship is strained. And the art is very beautiful. This next one is Andre the Giant, Life and Legend. It is a biographical graphic novel, so it is, some of it is not quite what it is, or some of it is maybe a little bit more elaborated and such, but it is by Box Brown, who wrote and illustrated it. It's got a lot of great information from what we know about Andre the Giant, from his childhood all the way up to his career in the wrestling world and even his acting careers. It talks a lot about some of the struggles he's went through with the medical issues he had, including some of the ways that he dealt with those medical issues. Brown does a really good job of showing how much of a good-natured person Andre was and how much he struggled with trying to be this gentle giant in the wrestling world. Last up is Glass House. This came out this past year. It is by Isabel Greenberg. It is a historical fiction story about the Brontes that is Charlotte and Emily and their brother Branwell. It is focused primarily on the fictional aspect of the world that they created, Glass Town, together, but it does take some of the actual life or biographical elements of what they actually went through. So while they were growing up, they did have some more troubling times of dealing with the fact that their two older sisters did pass away, and the story starts from there and how they coped by creating this imaginary world together. But then things start changing where Charlotte and Branwell wanted to continue on one path, and Emily and Anne wanted to continue on another. Isabel does embellish a lot on the biographical parts and include some of the stories that they had created together. If you are a fan of any of the Brontes' work, I would say give it a shot, because it is great insight of to what it may have been like through their eyes.